my family has a house in the Poconos, and we spent our summers and our weekends there growing up. And the summer I was 9 years old, I developed an totally irrational fear of being eaten alive by a bear because of something specific that happened one day. So before I tell you that, I'm going to tell you the fear that I had and the plan that my 9-year-old brain had to protect myself. So I decided that there was no way that I could possibly ever sleep alone again at our house in the Poconos. And that would be best for me to sleep with my brothers in their bedroom for 3 reasons. First of all, their room was perfectly designed for this plan so that I could survive. Second, I was totally willing to sacrifice them so that I could live. And their room was set up so that it had 2 beds. It had a bed against the window that faced the woods. And then on the other side of the room, there was a bed against the wall with no window. So I thought when the bear came through the window, it would first eat my one brother. It would then eat my second brother. And then one of 2 things would happen. It would get hungry and leave, it would get full and leave, or I would roll off the bed and hide in that little space between the wall and the bed and play dead, and it wouldn't know I was there, and I would live. And this all happened because one day my dad took me for a walk in the woods. And on our walk in the woods, he pointed out all these rocks that had been turned over. And he said to me, "Do you know what did that?" And I had no idea. I said, "No." And he said, "A bear." And we walked more, and I started thinking, and I thought, And I asked him, "Hey, could a bear throw a rock?" And he stopped and he looked at me. He said, "Sure, a bear could throw a rock." And we walked a little further, and I asked him, "Could a bear throw a rock through a window?" And he said, if he wanted to, he probably could. And we finished our walk. And by the time we got home, I was convinced that I was going to get eaten by a bear that came through my window that night. But to top it all off, that night, as a family, we watched a movie about a grizzly bear that went rogue in a national park and ate 6 people before they could catch it and kill it. And then my mom and dad said, "Okay, now go to bed." And so I had to go to my own room. And we had no air conditioning, so you had to leave the windows open at night. And my bedroom had 2 windows, one that faced the woods and one that faced the deck. So I shut the window that faced the woods because at least I knew I had better chance of survival if the window was closed. But I had to leave the other window open, and I sat curled up in a ball with my face literally against the screen of this window because I wanted to listen. I wanted to hear this bear. And what happened was I leaned so hard against the window that it popped out. The screen popped out. So I had to go tell my dad and my mom that I popped the screen out of the window, and somebody needed to fix it because not only now could the bear just come in and eat me because there was nothing to stop it, but the bugs were coming in. So my mom, dad said, "Yes, go back to bed." And so I went back there, and at this point I am utterly convinced that this is my last night on earth and that bear is coming. And so I sit curled up in a ball, and then I hear it. I hear it on the deck. I hear it moving things around. I hear it getting closer, and it stands up at my window, and it goes, "Ugh!" And I flew out of the room as fast as I could, screaming at the top of my lungs, "There's a bear! There's a bear! It's gonna eat me!" And my mom is staring at me like there's something wrong with me. And she's like, "What is wrong with you?" And I said, "There's a bear. It's on the deck, and it's gonna come in my window, and it's gonna eat me." And she said, "That's not a bear." She said, "That's your dad. He's out there. He's putting the screen back in your window, and he burped. Now go back to bed." So I went back and I laid in bed, and that is when I came up with the plan that that I could never sleep alone again, that I would always have to sleep with someone else. And I knew that would be my brothers. It would be in their room so that when that beast of a bear came through the window, it would eat them and I could hide. And that's how I survived sleeping in the mountains for the next 2 years.